We're here today with Elizabeth Whitelock, Chief Executive Officer of Veriluma. Elizabeth, thanks for your time.
Pleasure, thank you.
Can you explain a little bit about your business?
We are a software company, an Australian software company, and the market that we play in is prescriptive analytics. What does that mean? It is the next wave. In fact, someone defined it as the final frontier of analytics. People would be familiar with the big data space and the ability to get information and insight from that. What prescriptive analytics does is it takes that capability to the next level and provides people with an ability to see a decision, understand the contributing factors to that, the risks, the opportunities. So as a result, they understand not only what's likely to happen, but why, when, who, how, and be able to make a more accurate decision as a consequence.
And where have you been applying this technology to date?
Our core has been in defence, and that's where we started in response to a requirement by the Defence Intelligence Organisation. Since then, we have been commercialising it. So we took what we learned inside defence intelligence and its murky, qualitative world, constantly evolving, and we're applying that into financial services and into the legal sector. In financial services, we're engaged in scenarios such as understanding the merger and acquisition space. For example, if we acquire this company, what is likely to happen? Is it going to be successful? And if it isn't, what are all of the risks that we might find ourselves in? So therefore, someone in that situation might decide to kill the transaction early or look at the strategies that they need to put in place in order to mitigate those risks. In the legal sector, it is a consumer-based approach. We have partnered with a legal firm and we are developing applications around things such as family law, estate services, immigration and employment. Why is that important? Because consumers don't typically have the reins in that situation. And as an example, the family law, we're building an application so that if you're going through a dispute, looking to split and divorce, terrible words, but 47,000 cases happen every year in Australia, and 60% of those are self-represented. So there's no lawyers involved. Lawyers are very expensive, or people are not have access to legal aid. So our application is going to allow them to record their information and have an assessment of what their settlement is going to be, so that when they walk into the family court, they know exactly where they're going to be, they'll understand the process, they'll have a brief, so it's going to make it less stressful for them. And we know from our focus groups that people are happy to pay money for that service. So we're not taking away from the legal firms, we're just giving consumers some empowerment.
And what are some recent milestones the company's achieved that investors should be aware of?
So in the last few months, we have signed up some new partnerships. We already had some partnerships with MarketLend, a digital lending platform, and we also signed up Global Business Resilience, which is a strategic risk assessment company headed up by the ex-commander of counterterrorism intelligence, Mark Carrick. And he saw our software and thought, wow, why aren't we using this in the law enforcement space? He's now running his own company, so we've partnered with him to develop threat assessments and sell that back into the national security space. We have other partnerships with RPMG, for example, who are using our software to really understand whether or not your sales forecast is going to come in. And if it's going to fail, why is it going to fail? Is it the salesperson? Is it your marketing campaign? Is it your price point? What is it in that decision-making process from your client's perspective that might stall? So you get a better view. So a number of partnerships, and that is our key to going to market, is to become the intelligence inside other people's applications and processes.
And how big is the market for a product such as this?
This is a product that has a global play. We have tested and tried this in a number of different scenarios. So we know that it crosses industries, and we know that it has application overseas. We have interests from the US, the UK, Canada and South Africa, to name a few locations. And that goes across the three areas that we discussed: defence, financial services, and the legal services space. So according to Gartner, they say this is a $1 billion industry in the next, actually less than 3 years. So it's the next $1 billion industry. There are not many players in that space today. We are one of only a handful, but it's going to get, I suspect, much busier. Our goal is to become a leading provider of choice in that space and take a nice chunk of that $1 billion.
And moving forward, the milestones investors should look for?
Clearly, obviously, revenue is an important aspect of that. Our revenues are starting to trickle in through our partner base. We have currently some really interesting contracts that we are negotiating through, not only in the Canberra space, but in the financial services and legal. There will be revenue, there will be contracts via partners, and I think you'll also see some brand names appearing as clients.
Elizabeth, thanks for your time.
Pleasure, thank you so much.